My whiteboard. Good scientific afternoon, everyone, and welcome to MC Science. Welcome to MC Science CIC. Sorry, it was I was getting feedback. Um, Conservation, Sustainability, and Protecting the Future lecture, of which this is to help Key Stage 3 science. Now, by the end of this session, hopefully you'll be able to understand what is conservation. You'll be able to understand how does sustainability mean and how can ecosystems be protected? What can individuals do to help as well? So one of the biggest things always, um, whenever we're looking at anything like this, is looking at how we as humans can do this kind of thing. So here in Plymouth, there is lots of different things going on, and I will go over that as we go. If you are new to our videos, please do subscribe and spread the word, especially if you're a student that is needing a bit of extra support or you're a home ed student or anything like that. This is for you. So, first things first, what is conservation? Conservation, the first question you should be able to answer by the end of this session. Conservation is to protect and manage, okay, the natural world. The goal of conservation is to protect species, protect habitat, maintain biodiversity, and prevent extinction. Without conservation, many species would disappear much faster. This is fact. This isn't something um, made up or anything like that, where people um, have been misled to believe. This is fact. So why do species need protecting? Well, unfortunately, many species out there face threats such as habitat destruction, in a lot of cases human-led, but there is natural disaster as well. Pollution, which is definitely human-led. Climate change, which again, humans are playing a huge part in hunting of the species. Well, obviously, we have natural predator prey scenarios, but we also, again, have humans hunting animals, and which shouldn't happen anymore. And then we've got invasive species, which in a lot of cases, humans have played a part in as well. And we'll go more into that as we go through this session today. So, couple of examples. So, species with um, only a few hundred individuals remaining is much more vulnerable to extinction than a species with millions of individuals. Small populations often have less genetic variation. They will struggle to find mates and are more vulnerable to disease. So, this is a really important thing that we make sure that we are getting a good amount of variation. And we spoke about this in previous sessions. You know, when we look back, we've gone over the past 6 weeks, ecosystems, food chains, food webs, adaptation, biodiversity, human impact, which we'll go into more again today, carbon cycle, and climate change, which is what we covered last week. So if I gave you a multi-choice question to answer, here is your multi-choice. Um, and it is, what is the main aim of conservation? A, B, C, or D. Now in the comments box, please tell me what the main aim of conservation is. And again, if you can hit like on this video and you can become a follower, that would be amazing. The work we're doing here at MC Science CIC is to provide engaging material to help with education so that everyone has access to high quality lessons um, at a for free. You know, so much comes for free all the time nowadays, and this is one of the things we're wanting to start doing. If you're wanting to pay for one-to-one tutoring, that's absolutely fine. Um, but we're also doing these sessions now as well. So if you know someone that's being homeschooled, that's struggling in school or anything like that, that needs that extra little bit of support, tell them about these sessions, tell them about these videos, and get following for us, please and thank you. The more you help us, we want to also then start monetizing and putting that money into again, providing better education for local schools. So, if you have come to, after my waffle there, come to understand the answer, it is to protect species and habitat. So, if you are one of these people, well done. Um, do um, congratulate yourself, I should say. And let's continue. So, protected areas. Now, one of the key parts of conservation is making areas so that they cannot be uh, dug up, um, we've got animals and things like that that would be living in that area, and we normally refer to these as national parks, nature reserves, or marine protected areas. Here in Plymouth, we are the first marine national park of the whole of the UK, and we are able to protect the waters as much as we can. Although, I will add, we do a fireworks show off of the pier every single year. I have been informed because I did challenge this as a marine national park. I was informed that they've made it so that all of the fireworks are completely biodegradable and are not going to be damaged in the water and stuff like that in the area. Who knows when it comes to this, really? There will be some chemical and residue, glue residue, things like that that will leach into the water. So I'm a bit unsure still about that, and I would love to know the environmental impact of that setup. So other marine protections that are going on as well are things such as fishing restrictions, habitat protection as well, so that fish population can recover. And I watched this guy on YouTube. Um, he does lobster fishing uh, in Maine, I believe it is. Um, Here he is. He's called Jacob Knowles, um, and he's a lovely guy, and he actually educates people. Let me see if I can get this image of Jacob Knowles. So this is the gentleman. This isn't the best of pictures, and I apologise to Jacob if he sees this video. But this is a 100-year-old lobster, and he educates people about sustainability whilst he does his lobster fishing and things like that. And it's fascinating to actually, I find it really interesting watching his videos and learning from this about the kind of things that he's doing to benefit the area around him. So, why do we then protect these areas? Well, we need to make sure, like Jacob here, finding his lobsters. Certain lobsters, believe it or not, are able to breed females, and some females are not able to breed. So they put what they call a notch in the tail of all the breeding lobsters so that then they're protected. So when a fisherman then takes them up, they're able to then go, um, this is a um, breeder, let's put her back in the water. And Jacob here, he actually gives them um, fish when he sends them back down to the bottom. And the bigger the lobster, the more likely it is to breed and produce a whole load of offspring as well. And it really is quite fascinating to watch his stuff. Now, so we want to protect them from breeding. We want to make sure as well when we protect their area, we're protecting their feeding grounds as well. So it's not so much always about protecting the animal itself, it's protecting their food source. Okay, and how allowing them to be able to migrate to and from the area freely as well. So the more natural we can keep their ecosystem, and have fewer human impact, the better. And in some cases, as you have probably been to, we look at captive breeding programs instead. So captive breeding involves obviously capturing the endangered animal. For example, in places such as zoos, wildlife centres, and specialised breeding facilities, and we will breed the animals together. Now, why is that important again? Well, if a species is becoming super rare, well, then we can capture them, breed them, and increase their numbers. By increasing their numbers, individuals may later be released into the wild. And again, these would be into these nature parks, nature reserves, and stuff like that. And again, just a quick thing. If you haven't already hit that follow button, please do, and please spread the word of what MC Science does. We really do appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who's currently watching this live video. So when we're capturing them as well, we the one thing people do forget, and I've had this conversation with people at Dartmoor Zoo when I've been there, um, is why do they always send the kids away after they've bred? And the reason is because we don't want children of parents breeding. And the reason is because again, we end up creating a really small genetic pool of that species, whereas we need that diversity in the species. Without the diversity in that species, we're unable to then, if a disease comes along, every single species with that specific genome is likely to die. Whereas by breeding with, for example, a tiger at a different zoo and keep doing that, we're creating a wider and wider gene pool, allowing the survival of these species to happen much more likely. So this is why we do it. So for example, we've got what we call the California condor. So the California condor, let me get a picture of it. Um, there we go. The California condor um, literally went through the captive breeding program, and its population has massively increased. So we obviously do have, and this is one of the only downsides to this, pardon me. We do have challenges for captive breeding as well. Okay, sometimes animals lose their natural behaviors. I saw a video online the other day, and it was a wild cat species at a zoo eating through a hole in the wall. Um, And to me, um, I was seeing if I could find a image of it, but I can't. For me, it's one of them things where you've got to try and make it as natural as you can because they will lose some of that natural drive. So whenever there's animals that have had a lot of human interaction, we can't put them back into nature. But this is where we put their offspring back into the wild because the offspring um, would naturally be able to be we make it so that they have like no human contact kind of thing, and with that then they don't lose that natural behavior as much. And it means then they're not dependent on humans. The last thing we want is an endangered species walking up to a human that is looking to hunt it, for example, and killing it. And we want to prevent that struggle to survive as well. So we carefully manage these programs, and this is why, if you've ever been at a zoo and it's anything to do with conservation, um, we look at this kind of thing. Now, one of the other things is reforestation. Reforestation is really important again. And when we're looking at reforestation, we are trying to get all of the trees and stuff growing more and more. And the more we can plant trees to replace those that have been taken, again, if you remember when we talked about the carbon cycle, we're trying to get that carbon back out of the atmosphere, which will reduce global warming. Okay, so planting trees to restore damaged habitat. It will provide habitat for the animals. It stores the carbon, prevents soil erosion as well. This is one of the biggest things. Now, I saw a video a while ago, and it was absolutely fascinating. So they had the soil. Let me move us over a minute. They had the soil of a farm, and basically, the um, farms that allowed the like grew a single yearly crop, their kind of roots went like this far down. But the farms that allowed um, like more of a grass-fed kind of crop. So by growing wheat, for example, for a cow to eat, um, because it is a quick turnaround, the soil erodes far faster than having a cow in a field that is able to eat grass. And what happens is the grass-fed cows, the actual roots go massively deeper, and by having the roots much, much deeper, there we go, make it a little bit prettier. Um, there we go. By having the roots much, much deeper, um, allows the animals to actually thrive better. It prevents soil erosion, and we end up with a more sustainable landscape. So this is really important. Preventing soil erosion, losing all of the nutrients that are in the soil, being washed away, is really important. And by us planting these trees, we are supporting biodiversity. Okay. So with this, then, um, one of the biggest things as well. So a newly planted woodland may only initially contain a few species, but over time, and this is one of the biggest things, over time, as we've introduced things back, other things come along too. Now, here in Plymouth, again, for example, we've got Central Park. Now, Central Park, they've just built two giant ponds down the bottom of Central Park. And with these giant ponds, the fascinating thing is they have increased the biodiversity of them. They cut down two beautiful willow trees, which I'm not happy about, but that's a different story. Um, but they dug these ponds out, and what it has done is we now have herring, we have goldfish, we have, which I still don't know where the goldfish came from. The heron has obviously flown over. We've got ducks, we've got more hens, and more species. There actually was pheasants running around in Central Park the other day, and I've lived in Plymouth all my life. I have never seen pheasants running around um, Central Park. And it is a large park, but trust me, you know the call of a pheasant once you have heard it. So we have, by putting these in, created a whole new ecosystem. And there's far more insects populations as well, and newer different insects there as well that are all thriving from the introduction of these ponds. So by us doing things like this and reforesting, we do see a significant change in the environment as well. Okay, so really important. So trees absorb the carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. This is how they actually grow. They store the carbon in them. This is why, again, you don't see the soil disappearing around a tree. We don't, trees don't grow using the soil. They grow from taking stuff from the air, which will reduce then atmospheric carbon dioxide, and acts as what we call a carbon sink, which is basically a large area that stores carbon. And again, rewilding. There's some, again, incredible work going on in the local areas. So there is a local group, a CIC called um, More to Life Education, CIC, and they are rewilding a place called Kitley House, and they're doing incredible work. And there's other local areas that are trying to, like Stoke in Bloom, they're trying to actually incorporate more nature into areas to make it more wildlife friendly and make it so that more bees, more insects, more nature, more moisture is in the area as well. Because the more we're building concrete structures and things like that, it does create a hotter, drier area. Whereas by incorporating more and more plant life, where during photosynthesis or during respiration of the plants, it's releasing moisture into the area, that's really important. Okay, so we've got rewilding projects going on here, there, and everywhere. We've got restoring of wetlands, reintroducing species, allowing forests to regenerate. So again, here in Plymouth, we've introduced beavers at a place called Pool Farm. And Pool Farm is brilliant. We run our forest school there every Saturday, and we're about to start increasing them sessions as well to a couple of other days as well. But the beaver is known as the ecosystem engineer. It builds dams, creates ponds, increases more biodiversity, and improves habitats for many species. And one of the key things I've witnessed whilst running our forest school next to this area is how they slow the water flow down to other areas and produce a continuous water flow. And locals have actually even said, by having the beavers introduced, that there's been less flooding in the areas further downstream, which again is such an important thing and such a fascinating thing. And again, it was humans that almost wiped them out. So it's about making things sustainable. The more we can make things sustainable and start actually working with the planet rather than against it, we will start actually noticing um, that the world actually benefits. We will benefit and we will be able to live on this planet far longer as a human population than if we continue to be unsustainable, which I've just realized. Um, no, no, let me double check what I wrote on my notes. Missing the S. So sustainability is all about having good practices, using renewable energy, responsible fishing. So there are certain species out there now as well that are only allowed to be fished through what we call line fishing. So using a fishing line instead of using nets and things like that. That is far more sustainable and it prevents overfishing of that species because someone's not going to be able to catch hundreds of fish on one single fishing line um, in the space of a day. So it's what we call a sustainable practice. You know, by us using renewable resources, starting to cut down on our non-renewable. So, for example, using public transport, yes, does use fossil fuels depending on what you use. Here in Plymouth, we've just got a fleet of electric buses and things. Um, if we can use other means of transport where we reduce carbon emissions, improve air quality, and slow climate change, these are the kind of things that we need to be doing. So, you as an individual, what can you actually do? Well, the things you can do as a individual is reduce your waste. Do you need to buy multiple items of clothing or multiple of this, multiple of that? Consumerism. We don't need to consume as much as we take, and reducing our waste is, you know, all about actually not just our food waste, it's about waste of everything in general. Recycle as much as we can, save electricity, walk or cycle more. So, you know, if you've got a something to go to and it's like a 10-minute walk up the road, walk it if you can. I'm not saying for everyone they can, because obviously we have different needs and abilities. I myself um, struggle with my mobility due to a condition I've got, and I run out of energy levels really easily. And so this would be one of these things that I'm saying, obviously, do what you can. This isn't me saying everyone has to do this. So with that, then plant trees. There are some incredible things out there at the minute where they are offering free trees and stuff like that. If you've got a bit of space in your garden, um, I highly recommend planting a tree. Support conservation projects, donate wherever you can. And again, like I said, reduce food, food waste. Um, Schools and community actions. You know, we need to create wildlife areas again in our schools. We need to plant wildflower meadows more and more. This will help our bees. Install bird boxes at our forest school. We are building bird boxes. Organize litter picks. MC Science, we here actually run litter picks every other week, and we work alongside a group called Clean Our Patch CIC. They are an incredible duo that organize cleans across the entire city, and um, I think they did a clean the other week, which I was very proud to be a part of, where we cleared. I think it was like 217 bin bags of rubbish from an area. And again, absolutely shocking. There should never be this level of rubbish in an area, but it comes down to humans not looking after the areas. If we are wanting a good food supply, good water, good oxygen, good medicine, we need to start regulating these things more and more. Okay, we need to start thinking about this stuff more and more. Now, if you've found what I've said today interesting, you can become what we call a conservation officer. To become a conservation officer, where you would be protecting habitat, monitoring wildlife, managing nature reserves, you would need the following qualifications, where you would need your GCSE science, A-level biology or geography, and a degree in conservation ecology and environmental science. You would have a starting salary of 24 to 30,000, and you would go on to 35 to 50,000 beyond that. Now, if you are up for doing a little home task as well, I do love to offer little home tasks for you to do so that you can have a bit of a gander at things. Um, Ecosystem improvement project. Choose a local area such as your garden, school ground, local park, or woodlands. Design three improvements that could increase biodiversity. So, what would you do to get more species in there? Okay. And with that, explain for each improvement what you would do, which species would benefit, and why biodiversity would increase. Then design has a little extension task as well. Um, Design your own nature reserve where you can include habitats, food sources, water sources, shelter, conservation measures, and explain how you reserve uh, would support biodiversity. Now, our key words today. There's been a good couple of keywords today: conservation, sustainability, rewilding, renewable resources, carbon sink, protected area, captive breeding, biodiversity, reforestation, and habitat. Now, real world links. So, what is going on in the real world? Well, real world wise, we've got the natural national parks, wildlife trust, renewable energy projects, we've got community conservation, forest schools, and habitat restoration all going on. And finally, um, our curiosity questions to end this session with, which I would love for you to comment below what your answers are. I don't ever talk about these. This is purely to get you thinking whilst you leave this video. Should humans bring extinct species back to life? Can conservation ever fully repair damaged ecosystems? What would happen if all national parks disappeared? And could every town have its own nature reserve? Thank you so much for joining us this week, and I will see you on Wednesday for some chemistry. Goodbye.